Welcome back to another episode of Origin Story. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein. I'm so excited to introduce my new co-host, JP Coppersmith. JP joins the podcast with dozens of years of YouTube knowledge and a witty attitude. We're also joined today by our guest, Matt Colbo. Thanks so much for being on the podcast tonight, Matt.
Well, thank you for having me, Michael and JP. I'm glad to be here. A good voice crack to start it off for me, and we're hitting the ground running. I love it.
Excellent start.
Yeah.
Excellent start.
I couldn't have thought of another way to do it. So for our viewers, Matt Colburn is the man behind the channel Matt Colbo. Matt is a proud Canadian and creative content producer who can really whistle like a man. His 77 sketch comedy videos have been watched over 16 million times and created a community of over 189,000 subscribers. We really can't wait to learn about how you chose to use YouTube as your medium and hear about where your channel is going in the future. So before we talk about where you're going and how you started your YouTube channel, it's obvious from Canada you definitely played hockey. We know that one. Mm-hmm. But what many of your subscribers might not know is your successful baseball career, which actually landed you at the, I don't want to mess this up. What's the place called? The camp is called the Perfect Game Showcase, where you put yourself in front of hundreds of scouts. I don't know if it was actually hundreds, but lots of scouts. I saw the video, right? The promo. So how did you end up at the Perfect Score Showcase?
You're going to love this. So I am, that tournament this is so funny because I was talking about this with my friend Ian last night when I was playing Xbox with him because he asked about it. I went to that tournament because it was, I was on my cousin's team whose name is Craig, and he's from North Carolina, and my uncle, Craig's father, Larry, was coaching the team. And this is so bad because they were going to this tournament in Atlanta, and I hadn't seen him in a long time, so they invited me down to come with them and kind of just play / just be there on the team. And I at the time was 17, and which I was just kind of coming into my own a little bit. So I'm a pitcher pretty exclusively at that time, at least, because I have always had trouble hitting, and that still kind of persists to this day. But it was, so I went down and I kind of sat on the bench the whole time. I didn't see the field. If we had made it one step further, I would have pitched the next game. But it was not a bad choice. There were 11 players on the team, including me, and 9 of us could pitch, and they were all very good. There was 3 Division I players on that team now that are fully, when one MLB draftee, he is going to be the Diamondbacks organization. Bryce Jarvis is his name. And it was so cool to be there because it was a 308 team tournament and with one winner. And there's some good baseball that goes on in Canada. When you go to any national team, any national tournament, there's always I've been to a few junior nationals and senior nationals, and there's always some great competition and some really good ball players. But when you go down to somewhere like Atlanta and you find it's a nationwide USA tournament, and you're going to find the best in the country there that are your age. And it was just ridiculous to see people who were 14 years old and 6'5" and throwing 93. And it was just I don't even know. I'm so out of place here. I was doing pretty well for my age and just my age group in Newfoundland. But then as soon as you leave, it's oh my God, this is so overwhelming.
You start to see the other athletes out there, and you're all right.
Yeah.
So your highlight reel, how was your highlight reel from that?
My highlight reel for that was I was catching with the left fielder, warming him up for the start, and we were on a turf field. And he threw one in the turf, and I went to scoop it, and I scooped it, but I got a piece of the turf rubber in my eye, and I needed assistance from a family, everyone's family and friends were there, and I think 30 people crowded around to get this piece of rubber out of my eye. I don't know, that was my one my one moment of fame for that tournament was every bit of attention was on me at the start of the game because I had turf rubber in my eye.
You didn't have the classic baseball glasses?
I don't have the goggles. No, I think I need to get them though. My dad actually is still playing. My dad's a much better baseball player than I ever will be, and he was very good. And he's still playing. He's like 53, and he still plays.
That's epic.
But he recently got glasses because he's old, and so he has these sports glasses now. They're not fully the big goggles, but they're Oakley shades with clear, and I just make
like racquetball style goggles.
It is.
Something
it's
like
very
that.
Much. He's a squash player.
Yeah.
with those glasses.
I love that.
I
think that would have made a great collegiate highlight reel though for you to send to colleges of you just getting a piece of turf rubber in your eye, and it's like a 45-second clip, and you're like, that's it.
That's all I got, guys. Yeah.
The comment could have been you should have seen me not on turf.
Yeah.
That's where I really see.
I'm more of a dirt and grass kind of guy.
Yeah, not a turf
If I would have
guy.
gotten dirt in my eye, nothing would have happened.
No problem.
But this synthetic material, it just doesn't vibe with the body.
Yeah, no, it's not my thing. I mean, you see 45 seconds of me getting turf over my eye, and then 15 seconds of me whiffing on 3 batting practice pitches. And that's it.
Yeah, that would have been an absolutely electric highlight reel.
Yeah, I would have been scattered a bunch.
You speaking of those glasses and what we were talking about before we started the show tonight, you could go to Costco and buy some of those glasses. I guarantee they sell some sweet specs there.
Yeah, we were talking about
Guarantee
before the show how me and JP share the same Costco thermo flask. I've never seen anyone else with it, and then
Not saying we need the sponsorship from Kirkland, Costco, just throwing it out there.
No,
you know what I mean?
It is definitely both of us ready to go.
We wouldn't say no.
Yeah. So another piece here. So we look at sports. Obviously, you had that baseball. Regardless of your talent level, going down there and doing that. But you also there is the famous ice hockey incident. Big hockey player, and you tear your kneecap off. What happened? What happens? Tell me about this. You see the newspaper article. You're down on the ice. So, a lot of lowlights come through on some of these athletic reels. But I like this. I want to hear about this story. We have to learn more about this.
My only 2 big points are me getting turf in my eye and breaking my knee. So, and that picture, the best thing about that picture is when you search that up, that picture of me down on the ice was used in the newspaper, obviously. And
fantastic.
My friend Ryan still uses that picture as his Xbox profile picture, so I'm just reminded of it every time we log in.
That's fantastic. So walk us through what happened. Well, tell us about your hockey, because I mean, obviously Canada, prolific, hockey. Everyone up there is playing hockey. The folks from my company are there. I'm a big Spit and Stitchlets guy or Chicklets guy. Listen to their podcast, stuff like that. Tell me about your hockey and then how this whole thing happened.
So that league is the Newfoundland Senior League. It's senior. I don't know. Kind of has a very old person vibe, but senior hockey is just like men's hockey, which is a step above beer league. There's still definitely some beer handed out around after the game, but it is a more competitive sort of thing. And there's admission is paid, and in small towns, there's say in our league out there, it's more of a B sort of league rather than a top tier would not go play in the Allen Cup. For those Canadian hockey fans listening, know what the Allen Cup is. The winner would not go. That's another league in Newfoundland. Anyway, we it's a 4-team league with 4 small towns, and the places, the arenas are filled pretty well every night you're there. So especially if we go to a place, there's a town called Port aux Basques that has seats 1,000 people, and every night you're there, there's 2,000 people in the arena. It's ridiculous, just how
that's a lot.
Damn the thing is, because you think about in the middle of February or January in a cold Newfoundland winter, what is there to do on a Friday or Saturday night other than to go watch a few local players play hockey? So that's what it is. It's just a great league. It's the perfect senior league, really, to just have friends and family come watch, and just have 1,000 or more people come watch you every weekend night. So this particular incident was at home. We were in Corner Brook, Newfoundland, and I was just, it was such a weird game because I had my skates. I wanted to get my skates sharpened before the game, but I didn't, and they were all really dull. And it was just so weird when I stepped on the ice. It just wasn't working for me. And then I remember getting off early in the first period to just try to sharpen them with I don't know if you play hockey before, but there's I forget what it's called. Anyway, it's like you just scrape it on
The
your
file, like you would for like a snowboarder skis. Same
yeah,
thing.
something like that, just to try to sharpen it up really quick. And then I just felt so bad the whole time I was out there. And anyway, I go up for a shift and with 9 minutes left in the first period, and I'm carrying the puck, and I just try to backhand sauce it across to my winger who's coming up the wing. And I see a guy coming at me. I know I'm going to get hit, and I just kind of brace for it. And we both it wasn't a big hit. It was just we kind of just hit each other and fell down. But when I fell down, I fell back on my knee and on my leg. So it was I don't know how to explain it. It was so weird. And my leg just kind of fell on my leg, and then my leg shot out from under me. And when I fell on it, my kneecap just popped out of place. And then when it shot out from under me, it popped right back in. So I was immediately okay, I'm good. My kneecap's back in. I don't have to pop my kneecap back in. That was all I cared about. But the fear in that split second of this isn't where it's supposed to be. It was just the most intense fear. And apparently my dad, who is the coach of the team, which is great for anyone listening who doesn't know the ins and outs of that, is always a horrible thing to say. Yeah, I'm 22 years old and I'm still the coach's kid. But no, apparently there was a loud yelp from me. I don't remember it. I would say it was very manly, but probably not.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I was just I'm cool. I can't really stand on it, but I'm pretty sure I don't have to pop it back in, so we're all good. Anyway, we get back into the hallway, into the dressing room, and I just can't really bend it or straighten it, and it's kind of stuck in this sort of, I don't know, 20 degrees sort of angle. And eventually we get to the hospital, and it was supposed to be the doctor was yeah, you've got some bone. There's just bone chips just chilling there. And I'm all right, that's not good at all. And it turns out we go back later, we get an MRI done. It's not bone chips, it's cartilage. So which means if it lasts any longer, I'm going to need a cartilage donor, which could mean that I could be on a wait list for months to a year, which means I don't play any sports for months to a year or later.
Whoa.
But no, yeah, I was this is not good at all. So that really ruined my spirits. And that was in December of 2017. We were 5 days away from Christmas at the time. But I remember I was just bumping around on crutches and in a splint for the longest time, and then for 10 days. And then I get a call from my surgeon, who I'd seen a couple times, and he said, "Hey, so we're going to get you in for surgery tomorrow." And I was I'd just woken up. So I was oh, okay. I'd never had surgery. I'd never had blood taken before. So he was yeah, just don't eat tonight and come in tomorrow. We'll cut your leg open and fix you up. I was sure, wow, man, sick. And so, yeah, we did that. And then it was 4 months of being in a wheelchair and going to university, and that was sick. But now it's all good. It's it's still not the same, but there's a big fat scar on my knee, and it looks super manly, and that's what I'm left with.
4 months in a wheelchair. In Newfoundland, that's gotta suck rolling the class.
What season?
Yeah, it was in the heart of winter. So
but that's the perfect storm. It has to happen that way.
It was terrific because I was.
There's
on
comedy
crutches.
in that.
It was definitely. I was on crutches mostly,
which is not better at all.
No, it's not. It's not. But I had the wheelchair just planted because I was going to school every day, and luckily the school is 2 minutes from my house. My university that I went to was literally down the road. I could roll out of my house and then land in my classroom. That was it. But no, I just left the wheelchair in the university and then would crutch up every day and then just get in the wheelchair and then just be in the wheelchair all day. But the best part about that was my dad having to load me into the back of the car because I couldn't bend my knee. I had a straight leg for 4 months. I'm just sitting like this, and I was not able to sit in a normal chair. I had to sit across the back seat with my leg up. And so that was fun to have him be my servant for 4 months. And that's
a wild inconvenience. I broke my ankle playing basketball during winter at Oregon State University, and it snowed 4 or 5 inches that winter for whatever reason, and I was in crutches in the snow, so I can sympathize with you there because that was impossible and challenging. I remember I fell down some stairs one time, and the crutches just they just skated all the way, and I just sat on the stairs. And people were like, "You need help?" And I was like, "Just let me be, just let me exist for a little
The
while."
worst part about that is like when you come from outside in the snow with crutches, and then you come inside on like a hard tile floor, the snow stays in the rings of the bottom of the crutches. So like I would have to dig it out with my thumb, and I could never get it like super dry. And like I ended up having to carry a towel with me so I could dry off the bottom before I could. It was just
like a golf towel.
I literally, that's actually what I was carrying. I was carrying my dad's golf towel.
Oh, man. That's all big pharma trying to keep you back in that wheelchair. You know what I mean?
It is.
It's big pharma.
It is.
In the door, out the door. Keep you going.
Yeah, that is brutal, man. I can't believe you were in a wheelchair and crutches that long though. That's like I don't know. I think you do see like the comedy and things, so you probably at least were like, this is kind of ridiculous, like, but I'm gonna be better because of it.
Around that time was like I didn't really know what I was doing. I was in psychology, like I was a psychology student, and I think that had that not happened, because I started my YouTube channel in like May of 2018, so like that was when I was like just at the tail end of that like recovery. So I think that was like really, I think like I got into a lot of like sports casting and like wanting to be a sportscaster or a commentator of some sort, because I did a bit of that at home at the time, and but I only started doing it because I couldn't play because I broke a leg. So that was like, I think maybe the birth of maybe I want to do something more creative with this instead of sportscasting, and then it just turned into the YouTube channel. So had I not broken my leg, maybe I wouldn't be here.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I want to correct you on one thing before we move forward. You almost exactly started your YouTube channel, coincidentally. Now I got to do math. 4 years ago. 3 years.
Wait.
3 years ago. March 19th. March 19th.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
2018. Congratulations.
March 19th, 2018 is when it like opened up that YouTube channel?
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Wow.
That's
I
what
didn't
it
know
says
that.
online.
That's
Congratulations.
terrific. Wait, what's today? March 22nd? That's really close.
Weirdly, like almost exactly a celebratory 3 years.
I had no idea.
Yeah, well,
That's
exciting.
wild.
I mean, a lot of growth in that time. That's awesome. Well, I like that you've gone from blowing out your knee on the ice to wheelchair to now like kind of this creative content thing. I think that kind of leads us into where we're going here.
Yeah,
well, that's good.
Which is...
I had you guys in mind.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for leading the witness there.
I'm a team player.
Yeah.
I want to go back to like where you started making videos before you even decided to make this channel 3 years ago. So you started with your friend Sam, and you guys used to make videos. But what were those videos, and how did you come about getting that whole process started?
So the video, I'm assuming you're pulling that from. There was like a newspaper article that they did. Yeah. So I appreciate you doing your research. That's very nice.
Thank you.
No, they. So my friend Sam, we used to make videos all the time when we were like really young. Like we had always like were into just making random nonsense. But like we were like 12, 13, and it was never like we have a plan as to what we're doing. Because when we were 12, 13, this was 2009, 2010. So I mean, YouTube was there, but it wasn't like a thing to us that we knew was like the content era had not yet like really started. So not for us at least. And so we put a few of them on YouTube, and they still exist, but they weren't like planned out. It was just kind of like, hey, we were just so excited to put something out that other people could see, that we were just like, let's just do this thing that we had an idea of 5 minutes ago and do it in one take, and then because editing doesn't exist and planning doesn't exist, let's just put it out there. And that's all it was. And so that was really nothing to that. And then I don't know, it just we did it every now and then, but I think we were just so unable to focus on one thing at a time that it was never like, let's actually plan this out. It was just kind of like, let's just film ourselves shooting pucks in the driveway and then see if that goes viral.
And do you think that though, making videos with no planning and just kind of doing fun ideas, do you think that kind of laid some foundation for where you are today with your videos, and maybe even showed you when you started the channel what maybe not to do?
I think definitely. I think that like I've always kind of had that struggle to, I don't know, to plan very far ahead of something. Like I'm so bad at, like whenever I follow a lot of different kinds of YouTubers who are very good at planning and saying like, well, I just scheduled my video for 3 weeks in advance. I'm like, I and posting a video tomorrow that I'm filming tomorrow morning. Like it's like that's sometimes what I literally do that. I like the rush of like I'll spend like a week, like even now, I mean, obviously, like I'll spend a week or so writing a script and like making the script as good as it can be. And then, well, when I was in Newfoundland, especially because 4:30 is like the time when I normally post in Newfoundland time. So I would literally go and get up and film at like 9-10 and then film for 2 hours and then come home and edit quickly and then post it by 4:30. That was like my favorite thing in the world to do because time flies by for that day. And I'm just completely zoned in on that whole thing that whole day. So it was the perfect thing for me. And I'm excited to be able to do that again when I go back because I just can't do it here on Pacific time because it's just like by the time you get up and do something, it's too late.
Yeah, it's 4:30 our time over here.
It is. Yeah. But yeah.
That is interesting that you do that. And it is before JP asked the question, but yeah, it seems like your friends are very involved, right? You started with Sam, and I think now your friend Ian, right? I don't know, maybe not Ian. He reads all your scripts.
Mm.
And
you might be thinking of Colin.
Colin.
Yes.
Yeah, so Colin reads all your scripts now. So it's like, you have this great friend group that is supporting the channel, and there's maybe not characters on the channel, but are supporting you as the face. It's cool.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was something I kind of wish I had done more, and I want to do more with friends around. I don't know. It was just it's tougher in a small town to gather a lot of friends that are into the same sort of thing that you are, and, you know, especially and to be on in front of a camera is no simple task for someone who hasn't done it a whole lot. You know what I mean? And now it's not that it's just like, oh my God, you can never do it, but like it's just like it's not just something anyone can just stand in front of a camera and be, you know, believable as an actor or whatever. Not that I'm some high and mighty great actor, but you know what I mean?
think you do a great job.
But it's I just don't want. I never want to force that on someone. So I don't know. It's something I want to spend more time with other people. But I definitely do love the whole Colin thing. And if I could get into that for a second, like that's so important to what anything that I do is just sending things along to him to have a second pair of eyes that I can trust is very funny. That I know that we have such a similar humor. And also he's just such a smart dude. Like he's the smartest person I've ever met in my entire life. Like it just doesn't even make any sense to me. And it's really annoying when I think something is funny and then he suggests something else that is much funnier. Or if I think something is funny and then he's like, this isn't funny. And then I'll think about it and I'm like, you know what, you're probably right. This isn't funny. And then I can't, the worst is that I can't win an argument with him because even he could argue that ice is warm and he'd find a way to win over me in that argument because I just can't argue good enough. His argumentative skills are fantastic, but he's also like, you know, I know that I'm going off the rails, but he has my best interest at heart. So anything that he does, he's like, I'm not painting him as the villain here. Like he really is just the nicest guy. And he always has my best interest at heart, but he's not afraid to tell me that when he thinks that he knows I could make something better than it is.
And he has a fantastic app.
Yeah.
And he built an app, right? That is tracks your macros. We will put it in the show notes for you.
Oh, that's very nice of you. He'll be very glad to hear that. Yeah. He built an app called Prosper, and it's a meal planning app, like a meal generation app. So it's just like literally one click for a meal plan, and I can't begin to imagine and the difficulty that goes into that.
That's so cool.
And I've seen him work at it, and it's he really spends a lot of time and puts a lot of energy into it. So I'm very proud of him for it.
I will say I do like that. I mean, you know, to have a friend like that around, that's not always a yes man. You know, I feel like there's a lot of different influencers and stuff right now that maybe, you know, or people that are creating content that might just have a bunch of yes people around them. It's like, it's nice to have your true core folks that are with you. And I love in some of your videos just the real organic stuff when somebody else is filming and you just kind of leave in like that you're still laughing or cracking up at some of the stuff. Like that's some of my favorite stuff where like that organic, like this is ridiculous. Let's just leave that in like the edit. Like I love those.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too because I talking about the friends thing. I can't go on and not talk about Evan, who is the guy who films anything that is like filmed by someone else in my videos. It's always my friend Evan. Okay. And he's just so talented with like just knowing I can trust him to get the shot that I want, and also having some of the older videos like when there's laughing going on. his laugh is left in because his laugh is the most contagious laugh of all time. And I got to find a way to showcase that more. I miss him a lot, and I'm excited to get home to film with him more.
I love that because it also just shows like it's very like human, you know. It's like these guys are out having fun, like they got a purpose and they have these other videos, but at the same time, like they're having a good time doing what they love, and I think that's a super important part to making those videos.
Well, I'm glad you noticed that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. So I mean, obviously you're making the videos, you're doing all this. Let's like now comedy. I mean, it's obviously a huge part of what you do. What kind of where did you start with, like, when did you start realizing that you loved comedy? What kind of got you into it, and then how did you start to incorporate that into the videos?
I don't really know where the comedy thing started. I hit puberty late, so maybe I always kind of relied on that to be like, I had to rely on that to get by. Like I was never one to be in a clique, like in high school or in junior high school or whatever. Like I was never, you know, I was a hockey player, but I had a lot of hockey friends. But like if hockey friends of mine or hockey players that I knew in town were like, I don't hang out with those guys, they watch the, you know, anime. I don't watch anime, but you know, like I would never like, you know, I don't just shun someone because they do something, you know. It's just, you know, if someone's chilling in the corner, I'll just come say, hey. It's like, you know, it's not a, and that's not me. I feel like I'm just trying to pour like, I'm a good guy, but I'm, you know, I'm a jerk. I'm kidding. But it's like, you know, it's, it was, yeah. So when I was in like grade 8 and grade 9, like everyone had already sprouted up, and me and my friend Sam were still like 5'3". So I was literally 14 years old, and I was 5'4", I think, by the end of grade 9. And then in the start of grade 10, I was like 6 feet. So then I like just kind of transitioned and kept that, like, I just kept that like sort of, I guess, silly personality. Now, not that I didn't have that before. I was always kind of just the silly guy, but I think that really kind of stapled it in, where I was just like, if I'm going to be respected in any capacity here, it is not going to be my childish looks. You know, it's going to be me being silly in some way. And, you know, I think being able to practice that, I had a really good junior high and high school, and I had a lot of really good friends, and I really enjoyed it. And that's so privileged of me to say that I had such a great time in high school, but I really did. And I think that was it allowed me to spend time just like finding out what people think is funny, and just being able to just try out jokes all the time on my friends and just laugh with them. So, and I always hold that I'm like not even close to one of the funniest in my friend group. Like I'm like, all of my friends that I play Xbox with all the time, they're all so funny, and I just am always dying laughing at everything they say. And it's frustrating, but it's just so much fun to have funny friends. But yeah, sorry for going off the rails.
No, I think that's it. It's kind of like the way I look at it is like, maybe you didn't, you know, and I think I might have been kind of the same way. I mean, I listened to a ton of stand-up when I was younger and things like that, but you know, for me, it's kind of like, you don't have to take yourself so seriously, right? You can kind of like have fun and like be goofy and screw around.
But like the comedy itself and I guess the voices, that kind of started with Family Guy, and I've always been the biggest Family Guy fan, and I hate when I go on Twitter and someone's like, oh my god, Family Guy, blah. Like it's just like, shut up, it's hilarious, I hate you. It's like, I will stand by the fact that Family Guy is my favorite show of all time. And it's like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the app
QuizUp, no.
There was this app that was, I don't know, it was popular like 3 or 4 years ago, and like there was like, it had just a section for everything, which had like trivia that like fans could put in, and they just kind of got harder and harder and harder as you went up. And I ended up being like one of the top 10 in Canada for Family Guy, and that was like my claim to fame, because like I've just seen every episode like 20 times. Like it was just, I'm so bad, and even now I'm so bad at watching new shows and watching new movies. So like I'll watch Lost again, which I hadn't watched since like 7 years ago, but I'd rather do that than start a new show that I had never seen before. Like I'd rather watch I've watched, since in the last like 2 weeks, I've probably watched like 35 episodes of Lost. I'd rather do that than watch a 2-hour movie. Like I just can't start like and sit down for 2 hours. Like 40 minutes is the perfect amount of time for me to sit down and be like, great. Like, and that's just it. And so I think that is I completely forgot where I was. I'm so
No,
sorry.
that's your
No, all good.
He's a great writer too,
Family Guy.
and I think that maybe that's where you drew, because I think there's two kinds of comedy in the world. There's like the true sketch where you're just kind of going off the rails and not really having it, but his show is a scripted, written show, and you follow that cadence, and the jokes are timed, and you do the same kind of manner. So maybe that is where the true inspiration came from.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of inspiration in that show. I mean, just the voices, especially. I think that's what I started doing more than anything was voices. I kind of got away from it because once TikTok and YouTubers kind of came out, there's like, oh, there's a lot of people who are way better than I am at any of these. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna focus on what I think I'm best at, which is just not my best is in just in comedy and sketches and whatever.
But you do a lot of voices. But
yeah, I don't know, like
characters. There's a lot of character development in the channel itself.
Yeah, there is a lot of like the Tom Scott one is something like a voice that is like that is like definitely a voice, but it's more so an accent and just like a cadence more than like a voice, because I got a lot of comments on that and that said like the voice is spot on, and I was like I don't agree. Like I appreciate them, but I don't think it was like super spot on. It was like the cadence was there, and I think that I've watched so much Tom Scott and I love his videos so much that like when I just everything about the way he was speaking I mimicked and got the British accent. Like I'm decent at a British accent, so it was just easy. Or like in his kind of British accent, which is like a little more northern British. Like I definitely didn't just watch Tom Scott and do that. Like I looked up how to do his particular accent. Like there was preparation that went into it. But yeah, things like that, and like the David Attenborough impressions that I do sometimes, like that's really the only like things that I'm most comfortable doing. But every now and then we'll hear a Southern U.S. accent thrown in there, and a New York City cabbie that was
the New York City cabbie is spot on too. And even like the mannerisms and things that you say, just like that like someone in a borough of New York would say, like about I don't even little things. Yeah. I don't know, even like the Yiddish words and things, the phrasing that you put in there. I'm just like, what the heck? How'd this come out of here?
Well, thank you.
But so then you went to Grenfell, which we talked a little bit about your college career, and now we know that 4 months of it was in a wheelchair. And so, you get a degree in psychology. What was the decision behind this degree and the focus there?
When I came into Grenfell, it was just the choice to go to Grenfell, or it's just a Grenfell campus, which is from Memorial University of Newfoundland, which is the only university in Newfoundland. It was just the best choice because my high school is literally across the street and my house is up the street. So like it's right there. So like my days would literally be spent, and the hockey arena is also across the street. Like they're all within a triangle of like less than 200 meters. Like they're all right there. So my entire life is in a selection of like a half-kilometer radius. But it was just perfect. It was just the great spot to go, and I really liked the small feel of the school. Like class sizes were small. They were like, I don't know, the biggest class I ever had was like maybe 65 people. Wow. And like it was just perfect for me in that way, and it was easy to get to know professors. And the psychology thing was just, I'd always been interested in it from what little I'd known about it, and it sounded like something I could get into. And then I kind of switched back and forth between that and business administration. And I think I just settled on psychology because I was just doing well in it. And I didn't really like my business classes as much because there was just a lot of ambiguity. But I did like the research in psychology. And I liked the subjects really, they interested me. And so I kind of stuck with it in that regard. And it was never really using it as a plan to go further in psychology. It was more so just going to be a stepping stone until the YouTube thing kind of came into play. But YouTube was never on my mind in 2016 when I started up. Like I only really started watching YouTube in like 2015, 2014. So like it was in my mind obviously, but it was never like this is a career for me. It was just kind of like this is just cool.
Well, even 2015, 2016, YouTube was 2009, a very different place than what it is today. 2015, 16, there really even wasn't the opportunity to be like what it is today.
It's much different because I think like things like Vine was coming up, and I think that sort of Vine era when that was coming in, but when I started watching YouTube, was my cousin Craig showed me a Rooster Teeth video. I don't know if you've heard of Rooster Teeth, or like the Achievement Hunter is the game, like the gamers that from Achievement Hunter that I forget what the series was. The series is Rage. He showed me a Rage Quit video, was what it was. And I just remember was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. I'm gonna watch all of these now. And this was like the winter or like the Christmas 2014, and then my entire life since then has just been watching YouTube all the time. That's been like my primary source of content literally since that day. Like it's just, I just fell in love with watching that, and then understanding that, oh, these guys do this for a job. This is their thing. And that's kind of, I guess, when the seed was planted that could be a possible thing. But yeah, when that came to be, it was just kind of like that. Yeah, because I was in university and high school, so it was just gaming, and that was the only thing that I knew was Let's Plays and gaming content. So that was, I didn't really even know about sketch comedy on YouTube. I was very focused in on that.
And now it's a whole, we'll get into that in YouTube when we talk about YouTube. But
I didn't want to go in too far.
I'm trying to hold myself back as well, because there's this major, there's this own shift in all industries now, and I think YouTube is a major catalyst in this. I talked to a lot of like skateboarders about this, about there's the traditional route, and then there's this new route, and I think we can talk about that later. But I think there's one more topic to cover here, and then we'll go into YouTube.
Sure thing.
So, JP,
let's talk about a collection of hoodies that you are sporting in many of your videos.
Oh my God!
You got a lot of collections. You got some diverse hoodies out there. Let's talk about this now. What is this? Just something that you gathered over time? These different hoodies, or are you like a hoodie head guy? Like I don't know the term for it.
I didn't even know that this was a thing. I really didn't. I guess I do have a lot of hoodies. No,
it's in almost every video I've watched, especially even today. You're wearing this Eddie Bauer hoodie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's new to me from a viewer standpoint. But there is an eclectic amount.
Sorry, go ahead.
Almost every video they're different, and they're from all sorts of different things. Like there's hockey ones, there's baseball. So keep going. Yeah.
I think I love like my dad's and my pop's old like hoodies that they like. This is my grandfather's sweater that he like. My grandfather is the most organized person in the world, and he like just keeps like everything that like clothing wise that he's like. He got this as a gift from like my aunt in like 2008 and just never wore it. And I was like,
fantastic.
I'll take it, Pop.
So yeah, he's like, oh, Salt Lake City games, like I got a sweater for that.
Yeah,
I was there.
Is. Like he has everything is in like perfect condition. Like the bag that I took with me as like a travel bag, like when I came across the country, was his Canada Games. No, it was a baseball bag, from like 1985, and it was like the when they used to make them like perfect, like just great leather, and like just it's such a gorgeous like travel bag,
good quality,
and it's so perfect, and it's perfectly preserved because he's used it like 5 times, but he just keeps everything in such good shape. And so like so many of these hoodies are just like either my dad's or my pop's that are just like theirs that they don't wear anymore. So like this one, and another one is the other navy one that's like a quarter zip. It's like my dad's when he was playing hockey at Acadia, and that's one of my favorite ones. It's so comfy. There's another one from like the I think it was the Manly video I had. It was like a golf ball. It was like had golf balls.
That's
on
a great video.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It was one of my favorite videos because I just had so much fun making it.
It's a fantastic
side anecdote. Hold on, before we get into the sweatshirt, I'm gonna throw you off real quick here.
Go ahead.
Put you on the spot. Can you still whistle like a man? Go.
I haven't done it in a long time. I will try it. Coronavirus stole my fingers, but I washed my hands. I'm going to try it for 10 seconds. If it doesn't work, you stop me because
we'll just
too much.
Just throwing it out there.
Oh, that was a good start.
That's good enough.
That was. I turned the volume down for those listening and watching.
That's fantastic.
That's
fantastic. Had to ask.
Pretty good on the spot too. I'm glad that you warmed up the hands. You're like, okay,
yeah, I stalled. I was like, let me talk you guys through this while I figure it out.
Well, to get back into it, good note, because I mean, you do have all these different like hoodies or throwbacks or these old like vintage stuff you're wearing, but you are filming outside all the time, anyways.
Yes, that is. Yeah, I love filming outside so much. Like my favorite like sort of wear. I'm always like, I think the hoodie thing as well is kind of a little self-conscious of. I have a weird upper body. I don't actually. I just me being an idiot. I just like I don't. So
You're like, my hips are actually right. My hips are right here.
Yeah, yeah. My hips are here. Yeah.
It's like chest and hip.
I have about
Yeah,
four centimeters of I have 10 centimeters of chest right here.
Yeah, yeah. Measure your waist. Yeah. No, I just a lot of old like hoodies because like especially Dad being like a hockey player, like he was an athlete, so like playing on 100 hockey teams, you get a sweater from each of those teams. Like one of my favorite ones also, I don't know if I've had it in a video yet, is a cream San Jose Rhinos, which is a roller hockey team that Dad was on in 1995, and it's just so dope. It's so sick. Like there's so many that are like old and crazy, and there's like another one. I gotta put this in a video. I'll actually send it to you. I have to show you because it's so great. Is my dad's? I think it's like an OHL All-Star game when he was in the OHL, and it's like the most not like 80s, like every color in the world, and it's like just a zip-up jacket. It's so beautiful. I gotta find a way to get it in.
Shit.
Yeah,
that's so the best. Like my dad, he used to run all the time, and so he would have like those super thin windbreakers, like the old ones, like real classic, and they'd be like black and neon pink and neon green, and like those are awesome. And
now they're back in style, pretty much. So it's like,
that's what I'm saying. Like it's for cyclical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you start taking those and start making some designs, you might be get a little print shop going.
That's what I'm gonna have to do. I've kind of thought about the whole merch thing a little more lately, but it's when I do it, I want to do it right. So I don't want to jump into it too quick. But I think that I love sweaters and I love hoodies. So I appreciate you for bringing that up because it kind of got me more in the mind space of that.
Well, so you can just like pull ideas from that, like go through his stuff and like pull some ideas, I guess. You know what I mean? And be like, all right, these are pretty funny. Like, how do I incorporate my own deal into it?
Yeah. No, thank you, JP. I'm excited about that now.
Well, we're happy to get style the merch for you too.
Yeah.
Throw it on the wall.
Your way.
I've got
a like, and obviously like.
Oh, you got a welcome thing for me in the back.
I do have a welcome.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, and again, 50% royalties is not that big. It's not that big of a cut.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the business side, so I'll trust you guys.
We'll handle that. That's not. Listen, we'll handle that. That's just kind of number crunch stuff. We'll send you an invoice. It's not a big. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
We're here to help, right?
Yeah, no, we're here to help.
So let's roll into YouTube, right? And kind of the business behind the channel, and you had you start the channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first video on your channel.
Yes.
So I don't know if there's hidden videos or anything like that. I'm actually going to talk about the second video. And the reason why I'm going to talk about the second video is because in the second video, which is called I Don't Like Cheese, you reference it as your first video. I don't know why, but it is.
Is it like chronologically my second video?
It is the second video, yeah.
I uploaded them at the same time. And that's why I think. I guess that's shit. That was supposed to be the first one.
Well, we've unlocked the secret. So
credibility's lost is what we're trying to tell you.
So you started with kind of first off an intro to the channel called I Don't Like Cheese, and I thought it was hilarious talking about like when you were a little kid, you used to eat cheese all the time, and now I'm a dad, so my son literally just sticks his hand in a bag of cheese and just eating cheese. So if he doesn't like cheese one day, I'm just gonna be like, well, I guess that is what it is.
You did it. Yeah, it was a very dad and mom thing. Well, you used to eat it all the time. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
But so you kind of started with a lot of these parody-esque videos. The high schoolers reading positive comments, and then reading baby on board signs and some BuzzFeed and tasty things. So how did you come up with those original ideas on the channel, and talk us through that original process and maybe how it's changed till today?
I think then. It was, I don't know, it was definitely more commentary based because that's really kind of all that I knew. I think that I liked the style of just kind of sitting down and talking to the camera and knowing that I could do that for an hour and then just edit it down to 10, 15 minutes and that would be a video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it was probably just what I was watching at the time. Like I was just probably most influenced by people like, I don't know, like Drew Gooden was someone that I was watching a lot at that time, and like Cody Ko. And maybe even a couple other, I'm trying to think of others around that time, like maybe Danny Gonzalez and like a few people like that who were doing some commentary videos all the time. I don't know. There's a whole whole collection of great commentary channels that I used to watch then that influenced that the most. And I think that's where I just started. But as kind of time wore on, I realized that I wasn't really enjoying that as much. So I instead just kind of, I spent like a long time, way too long, thinking about what I wanted my style to be, because I knew that that wasn't unique. I know that I could like maybe get something from, you know, I could attract some viewers that way just being funny, but like it wasn't any sort of unique style, like I guess what I would call now is my style of just like being in the woods, or those like silly one take your mom jokes or whatever. I like if that's pinned as my style now, which makes sense. But anyway, I spent a lot of time thinking about what I wanted my style to be, instead of like just thinking of an idea and just going to do it. Like I literally spent a full summer in like 2019, like just being like, what should my style be? And like that was like what I would do a lot of time, was just sit down and be like, what if I did this? And like, what if my style was this? And like, it's the worst way to go about something ever. Like I just wasted so much time thinking about what I wanted my videos to look like, instead of just making something. And, you know what I mean? Like if I just had an idea of like, well, here's guy talks about something for however long, and then it's a your mom joke, which is what the first one turned into. Was just like, I was on the beach, we were on like a family vacation in Florida, just like on the beach somewhere, and then I was like, what if I just did a your mom joke and like kind of made it a little scientific, and then it was only 17 seconds long, and then I was like, well, okay, what if I actually wrote a script for this and like made it a lot longer? So it's just kind of just makes its way into that. But I think that instead of, if I were to go back, I would try things and just see how they worked out, instead of just thinking about things so much and overthinking them. But I think a lot of that comes from being just me being too much of a planner and not wanting to leave things up to chance a lot of time. But, you know, I don't really know. It was, but sorry, I keep running on again.
No, which is interesting, because I literally just erased a note on my notepad here that said, you think you're a bad planner. And I wanted to talk about that, but then you just said, I overplan here. So it's like you overplan, but then you also, that maybe is what is, I don't know. It's interesting when you say those two things.
Yeah, it's also me not knowing myself.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I go back and forth on what I, you know, the way I go about doing things sometimes. And sometimes I'll be like really into doing a certain kind of video, and then I'll be really into doing a different kind of thing. And I don't know, it comes in waves, but like I never want to be locked into one sort of thing. So I think that I've always wanted to be able to expand a little more. But the hardest part has always been, because I remember trying and actively worrying about wanting to show myself more. Like, you know, more like it's very difficult. That I never expected it to be this difficult when I started, was to show you as you know, and to not like shield yourself, because even when I turn a camera on, I'm still like putting on something that isn't me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, because, you know, there's obviously characters that I play when I'm doing something, but I think like the most me that you can get on my channel is like the manly video. Like that was like my ideal, like I want to do that more often, but the only reason I don't is because it takes so much time, and I'm just so worried about taking so much time between videos because I'm a dummy. But like doing something like that is like the most me that I can get, and it's something that I want to do more of in the future.
But there are similar styled videos on the channel.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely more. There's definitely not the only one. But I can see how it can be conflicting sometimes when like say in the latest one take one, the special relativity one, which came out, you know, just a week or two ago, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. It was, I don't know, because something like that where I'm sitting and just talking to a camera for 4.5 minutes can seem like it's me, and it's like it is me talking, but it's not me, it's me being a dick me, like it's, you know, because it's like it's me making insults about the viewer. Like that's mm-hmm. not something I want to do. So like I remember getting comments, it's like, oh look, it's mean Tom Scott, or like, wow, this guy kind of seems like a dick. I'm like, it's not me, it's a character. It's like it's hard to explain, but like I genuinely see things like that and I feel bad, because I'm like, I don't want you to feel bad watching this. It's like, and obviously, you know, it's very few and far between that I'll see things like that, but it's still like, you know, it's tough to draw the line between what's a character and what is you.
Do you think that some of your two-part where you're yourself talking to you, do you think that there's is there opportunity in there that some of the other side, one of those characters is actually you, and you're just being like a jerk to yourself?
Yeah, I think it's honestly the other way around. I think I'm with the silly character is usually just a character, and then the me being a dick is more me.
Oh, okay.
The other one, just because it's like I'm actually responding like a human. Like in the a little bit 18 plus, the "Are you looking at my box?" video.
Yes.
The orange suit guy one. Like the orange suit guy is obviously an insane human being. Like he's just you don't even know what he is, and the other guy is just like. Not like just has no time for his nonsense. It's just like, I'm just going to tell you what I see and what it's like. And I'm just, the reading a book against a tree is just a gimmick of just sort of doing that, whatever. But it's just, I'm fed up. I don't want to deal with you right now. I'm just having a bad day. So I'm just going to call you out on everything that you're saying, like, which is nonsense. And the other guy's like a very lovable, like just jovial, just wants to have a good time. I have orange skin sort of thing. It's just, I don't know. It's just, but yeah. There's definitely
I like the
something about
juxtaposition,
those that
though.
it's like one of them is me.
Yeah.
Sorry, JP, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no. I like those. I think those videos are hilarious. And that's I think I see that a lot. I mean, well, obviously you want to get like personality out there. You want to do a lot of that, and then like, but you see it all the time when you watch movies. When there's like an unrealistic scenario in a movie, and you're like, you would never respond that way as like a regular human. If somebody said that to you, you'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, or you'd be like demand an answer. You wouldn't just let it hang on forever, right? I don't know. So I think it's good. I like it. I think, some of those styles that you have are really funny. And then then you mix it up and you do ones that are like, I guess what you would call like more quality, like post-production type stuff, like the COVID commercial, which I thought was really, really funny. Because I love that because it's basically just calling out like BS on all these different companies that are putting out marketing. And it's like, that's not really like what you're doing. And you're kind of addressing like, we can all see through it. Why is a marketing team putting this together? You know what I mean? I love seeing that type of stuff because it's like, to a regular normal human, you're like, okay, we know what you're doing here. Like, this doesn't make sense. You're not hiding anything. We know what's going on.
No, thank you. I appreciate that, JP. No, it's I like doing stuff like that too because it's kind of mixing it up, and I think here's me being a team player leading into the future. I think that like I kind of want to get into more like. I never want to leave the low quality ish, not low quality, but like the camera that I have is
more raw,
is a little bit poo. So yeah, so like the ones of me in the woods talking to myself, I never want to leave that behind for as long as I still enjoy doing it. But I do want to also kind of branch out and do more like sort of more well produced sort of things that look better as well and are still funny with comedy at the core. But I don't know. I don't want to stick with the low quality stuff all the time. I kind of want to make a little more high quality things that I can look at and be like, I made that. That looks pretty cool. Because I do watch a lot of like people who make really good looking videos. And I'm like, it's not that I'm trying to become that. I don't want to make serious videos right now, at least. But I want to incorporate a bit of really nice quality into comedy as well and see how that turns out.
So
I like that because there's a difference between that too, though, because I think a lot of people get hung up on just trying to make it look good, but really it's like we're in it for the content, right?
Yeah.
Like it's got to be like, is it funny? Is it
Very
good?
good point.
And then like you can shoot it however you want, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you kind of weigh that out?
Yeah, I agree definitely. I think that if anything, if I'm to tell anyone, I've had a few people message me on Instagram, be like, "Hey, I'm starting a channel. Like, what gear should I get?" I was like, and I don't like the saying gear doesn't matter. It does. It 100% does. It's but only to an extent, right? Like if you look at someone like I don't know if you've heard of or watched Penguinzo or Charlie is his name. Like Penguins Zero is his name on YouTube. He's the most naturally funniest guy I've ever seen. He's got like 8 million subscribers, and he posts a video every day, and it's just him talking to a absolutely horrible camera, and in a terribly lit room, and he just riffs for like 8 minutes a day, and that's it. And he's so funny, and you could put him on a calculator, he'd be hilarious, right? But like, you could have someone with a $20,000 setup who is as interesting as a dog, and it's like, okay, like I don't care, like I don't, this looks great, and then it's like, now like make me excited about something, and if you can't do that in 10 seconds, then I'm leaving. Like it's just, that's the way it is.
I think, yeah, that's a good proof point of your channel. I mean, look, you've been around for a couple years now, and I mean, you've got a ton of views,
Yeah.
And I don't think that's any. I think it's more about like the creator. Like I thought about when I got into like videography and like photography. It's like, well, what camera should you get? And it's like, well, somebody can go out with a just a cell phone and a good idea and come up with a better shot than you. You know what I mean? So it's like, can you come up with a better creative, funny idea, and then who really cares about the rest of it?
I think I think there is an extent to that as well, though, where it's like, if you're just starting out and you don't know anything about cameras, then definitely don't go out and get a $7,000 camera. Like get yourself
Right.
a decent camera, like you can get good cameras for $700-800. And even your phone, like honestly, like your phone does take great pictures and great videos if you want them to. Like it's not going to be some cinematic. You're not going to compete against people who are using Reds. That's not your goal.
Right.
Your goal should be to just learn the basics of it, and that's all that is. Like, but for someone like me who wants to get more into more, not cinematic-ish sort of thing, but just better looking sort of thing. So I guess cinematic is the word, just more in the version of that, in the way of that. I think that like I have pushed my camera to its limits. It is a Canon Rebel T6i, and I've made videos where it's like at sunset and it looks great. I think, at least to my eye. And I'm like, but like I can't push that any further. Like it looks as good as it can because it's a entry level DSLR camera, and I just like, and it's so frustrating to deal with sometimes because the dynamic range is so awful, and it's like I have 10 minutes during this hour to like get a good shot, and if the light's not in the right place, then it's not going to work. Whereas if I had a better camera, it makes the whole process easier. So.
And you're filming by yourself in the woods, so.
That's the biggest thing too, is like the things in the woods. Like I don't think I'll ever change up those, but like things where like the one takes where I want to have a nice background, like things like that. I am by myself for all those, so it's like I have to keep running back to the camera and checking on things. And I just want to be able to know that I've got the shot for sure, and then come back instead of like doing a shot and then going back and seeing if everything's right, and then coming back and doing it again, and then going back and checking. Like I just want to know that everything's there. Yeah.
That makes sense, though. That is where the equipment. I guess there's a cap, right? Like Mr. Beast, same thing. Started with an iPhone, and like then he got a crappy laptop, is what he says. And but now he definitely shoots on like Red cameras. He's got a whole crew, and once you outgrow the equipment, there is a time to step up, and there's a benefit to it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I think it's a game to kind of like see when to really improve. But I think if you're in it for however long you're in it, it's you'll know when to upgrade your things. I mean, for you guys right now, like I've watched a good few of your episodes, and I've enjoyed listening to your conversation. I mean, when I'm listening to a podcast or watching a podcast, I like watching more than listening because I just like seeing your faces. Only you guys.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Well, we
I'm the same way. I
we
love
only
the
do
video
this because we have a
feeds,
face for radio, so that's
we always get that. I love that one. Anyone with a decently deep voice.
Yeah.
You got a face for the radio. You'd be great. Shut up. But no, it's like, I mean, like the cameras that I'm on, like I'm on a laptop camera right now. I don't know what you guys are using, but it's like it doesn't matter. Like I can see your face and your audio is good, and that's all that matters. You're not using $8,000 microphones. You're using decent microphones, and I can hear your voices, and the audio sounds really good, and that's all that matters. You know what I mean? Like you don't need a huge studio to have this thing. I appreciate that sort of thing when I see like a big creator who has a beautiful studio, and they have a bunch of people come in to interview, and they have like these big comfy chairs, and they have foot massagers for the whole pocket. Like that's great, but like I don't, like that's not necessary. You just have audio is all you really need in a podcast or in any like in any starter video. Like if it sounds good and I can see you, you're doing well.
Yeah. Let the content do its work from there.
Exactly. Yeah. More than anything, you have to be interesting in some way. You know what I mean? Like if any, and it's not me being some guy who knows all, but I mean, I think you as a viewer, you would know that too. Anyone would know that. Just be like, if I'm watching someone, I don't care what they're on or like what kind of gear they have. If they're interesting, I'm going to watch you. That's it.
Yeah. And that's Casey Neistat at its core. Is the content's got to be there. Don't shoot if you're not. Yeah. So let's talk about you set a goal, right? I'm going to do this for 2 years, live with mom and dad, and work hard. 9 months into this 2-year stint, you hit your 2-year goal, which was to hit 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
what is that like? Like what is that accomplishment and achievement like?
It was awesome. It was
Yeah.
just like, it was, I don't know, like I think it's weird because it kind of, that kind of growth, it happened in such a short time. Because like before the Tom Scott video dropped, I had like 20,000 subscribers or something like that, and this is in like August. I had like 23,000 or something, and then within 2 weeks I had 100,000. So I mean, any sort of big growth like that always happens in just huge spikes anyway. Like you'll like very rarely will you see someone like just slowly gain and oh, now they're at 1 million. They never had a spike and they just straight line the whole way up. Like that was it. It's always like, oh, okay, and then you flatten out, and then it's like, oh, okay, there you go, good job. But yeah, it was just kind of, I don't know, it was great to have that relief off my chest of, okay, this is, and it wasn't like a special number, like 100,000 means you're going to be able to support yourself. It was just like, that was the number for me where I was like, enough people are watching where I know that there's something here that I can maybe make a career out of this in some way, or not like maybe not a lifelong career, because like YouTube isn't forever, but there's something there that people are enjoying that I can profit off of and do this full time.
Yeah.
And
a tangible goal you could hit.
Yes, exactly. And that was really it. And I didn't really want it too much to be, because something like that is sort of out of my control. Like I don't control if someone else presses subscribe, but I do control the amount of work that I put into it. And I think that even though I don't control 100,000 people hitting subscribe, it's still, I'm controlling what I put out to the extent that, if after 2 years only 100 people were around, I would know that I was doing something wrong along the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's, it's just
Right.
it's just the way it is. Now, I say that, but it takes so much time. Like there is so much luck involved, right? Like I mean, like the 2 years was also a kind of way to put a cap on. Okay, sometimes it just doesn't work out. There are great people out there who are very talented at what they do that just don't make it because everything's there, the tools are all there. It's just someone else got to it before them. It's just the way it is.
Or they didn't put the time in. They didn't wait. They didn't do.
Yeah,
they only did it for 6
be,
weeks or 8 weeks or 10 weeks or a year.
Definitely. I mean, like I could literally like nothing changed in my content. Like, but like there's videos like that. My most viewed video right now is the every inspirational video.
Yeah.
Like that has like over 3 million views or something. That happened
3.3.
that happened after the Tom Scott video. Like before
no way.
I posted the Tom Scott video, that video had 5,000 views.
No way. Well, it's got the recipe for success because it's got a great title and a great thumbnail.
It would, yeah, I appreciate that. No, it like I was like when I posted that, I was like, okay, that was a decent video, I guess. And then like it was just fine, and it like nothing changed about it over those years. It just didn't hit an algorithm until I posted the Tom Scott one, and then I guess more people started looking through my backlog and saw that one, and then it just blew up, and that was it. Like there's nothing. That is the epitome of luck. It was just like, okay, YouTube started pushing it some more, and then people saw it and liked it. Like it literally was just dead at 5,000 views for a year and a half, because I posted that in like 2019 in November. Dang. So it was like it was literally a year after that it happened.
That's timing though too. I mean, you look at all these people that are writing books, David Goggins, everybody else, The Rock saying he gets up at 4 a.m. and you're like, I got up at noon yesterday. Think about that.
Today.
You know what I mean? Like that's hilarious. And like I think that's one of those things we look at now with like all these like clout chasing YouTubers and stuff like that. It's like that's why I think that's funny. It's because like I don't know, kind of calling out the BS and a lot of the stuff and just normalizing it. Like that one was really funny to me because I was like, that's great. Like this goes against like I don't know. There's just so many influencers out there. I don't know. That's the type of comedy where I'm like, I get this. This is funny. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
But so I think it's like it. You're right. Like maybe one video did spike up, but it just happened to be perfect timing to where it also aligned with this whole influencer. Like I'm up at 3 a.m. for my 6 mile run. Then I'm doing abs for the next 6 hours. So it was like it did like maybe it's just it aligned at the right time.
Yeah.
So.
No, definitely. I mean, sure. I mean, like anything like that can happen too. But it just comes down to like being lucky at that time. Like it was just and. Even the Tom Scott one, like when that blew up, I mean, like sure a lot of people watched it and enjoyed it, but posting something on Reddit, it's like sometimes you just get like if the first 10 people that see that, like who are willing to comment on your Reddit post are like dicks, you're done. It doesn't matter how good the video is, it's over. Like, but if the first 10 people see it and are like agreeable people, and like that was really nice, then like that positive vibe of seeing 10 people like it is all it takes sometimes for something to blow up. But like if it literally is all that. Like I've seen people like Gus Johnson, who I'm sure you've heard of. Like he's one of my favorite creators. Like who is a big sketch guy. I've compared to him.
Yeah, love Gus.
Style-wise, I guess a lot. But he like he'll post videos on Reddit that just get shit on all the time or pooped on. Sorry, I don't mean to swear.
Yeah, you're good.
No, my bad.
Hey.
But he I mean like the videos like his that I like, fantastic videos that just get torn to pieces all the time. Not all the time anymore, but I mean he used to like so much before people knew who he was. Like these are great videos that people are just tearing apart, and it's like because just a bunch of jerks see it first, and that's it. Like, and I know that when you guys were talking to Bo Miles as well, who I also love, he was talking about how like you can't really pay attention to just some douche on the internet, and he's right. He's 100% right. But sometimes the douches call the shots on Reddit, especially like when
Reddit's a rough place to like put anything. Like I've been on Reddit for a long time, and my karma history is it's rough. You know what I mean? It's like like I've had ones that are just like, I mean, like try posting in a Seattle subreddit. It's like you're just gonna get tanked all the way to the bottom. You got to ride that baby down. You know what I mean? You can't give that up. You got to ride that down vote all the way. But yeah, no, Reddit is a rough. It's like a tough crowd, and I feel like it's like a bunch of unhappy people half the time. There's some good patches. Don't get me wrong, but
definitely,
I could see that
the
being a challenge where you're like, all right, well, I just put up some good work, and everyone's just shitting all over it immediately. You're like, all right,
yeah.
So, how important is thumbnails and titles to your channel, and like a little bit about the creative process as well? So, are you coming up with a lot of ideas, writing them down, and then when you're scripting and thinking, are you also thinking, okay, here's the script, this is what the thumbnail and the title is going to be as I go into it?
They are very important, and it's something that I've taken more time thinking about. I've thought about more, I guess, in recent days, recent months, the last year or so. But it's still such a mystery to me. Like how I think more than anything, I think about the title itself. Like something like when I thought of the title for the congestive heart failure video, like funniest joke you'll hear today about congestive heart failure, I thought of that as like, I think that's a good title because it's a joke in itself. It's like well, first of all, what is congestive heart failure and who's writing jokes about it? You obviously haven't.
Hey,
heard
this
one
isn't
today.
funny.
It's a clickable title. It's a clickable title to go on. So when I thought about that, I was like, I think this is a pretty good title. I don't think it matters what. I just want the thumbnail to reflect what this is. It's just a guy sitting, and okay, decent background, and so maybe he's just talking to the camera and just saying a joke for 2.5 minutes, and that's exactly what it is. Like it was just I want the title and the thumbnail to tell the story as best as possible. But I think for like anything like sketches, like I never know what to title sketches. Like it's just, and the things like and the poems as well. Like there's nothing really special about the titles of the poems or the sketches. It's just like trying to tell the story at least a little bit, or just to be intriguing in some way in the title and the thumbnail, because a lot of them are not really like relatable. Like a lot of my sketches, I really tried to, a few I've made where have been like a little more popular culture sort of oriented, but I think that for the most part, it's just guy in woods talking to other guy in woods. And this is like, just here's a joke about something that makes no sense. Like, it's just like the box video, like it's just a guy in an orange suit with a box for junk. Like, that's it. Like, it's just, there's nothing like relatable about that. It's just a sketch, and that's all it is. So I never know how to, how to title those things. Like things like the manly video, like I don't know what to title or thumbnail those. I thought like I was cutting down a little bit, so let me take my shirt off for this one, see how that looks. Like the things like that, it's like that's all I've got. Like I really don't know. I would love for anyone to help me in that regard, because I need a lot of
I don't think there's, but the thing is, every person I've talked to, almost 40 episodes, they all say the same. They're like,
yeah,
I don't know. I just kind of throw it out there and I hope for the best. There's one person that hasn't come on yet, but he is. I don't want to. I guess he definitely is. He's in Tahoe right now with his wife. Good luck. I hope you're
Barack Obama. Obama.
Barack. He's coming on. We're gonna actually get 2 ferns and do a Zach Galifianakis. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
David Manning told me about this really cool product that's free. It's called TubeBuddy, and it allows you to like put 2 different thumbnails, and then it cycles them every other day, and it lets you know which one was better received. So there are some cool products out there, but at the same time, that's just someone saying, I don't know what is good, and maybe this is going to help me. I don't really think it like matters. You're just going to have to throw it out there and kind of play with. That's YouTube, because tomorrow the algorithm could change, and everything that you've focused on and done, out the window.
Really, it really is. I mean, like, it's the people, it's the viewers who control the algorithm.
Yeah.
And that's really all that I know about it, is that, like, okay, well, what, I don't know. It's hard sometimes because I don't know if I want to make a video that's like I want to make very much, or like sometimes what will work for an audience is not what you want to make. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes what you really want to make is like, well, how am I going to sell this to people? You know, it's like, it doesn't make any sense to be able to try to sell that to people. And someone, I don't know if you've heard of, there's a web comic called the Oatmeal. I think it's from, it's a pretty popular one, but I'd never really heard of it until a couple of years ago, or sorry, not a couple of years, like a couple months ago. And he made, the guy who made it, his name is Matt, great name. He made like a little post about, like just what he's learned about creativity and whatever. And he, you know, obviously at some point, one of the points he made is that at some point you have to pay the bills, and it's, you know, and at some point you have to put something out there for people that's like, you know, I'm going to use my talents or whatever to, you know, here's something for you that you'll gobble up and love, you know what I mean? And like that'll try to go viral or whatever. But if every video is a viral attempt, then, you know, you're not being yourself anymore. It's just that sort of thing. And the phrase that he uses is like 5 for me, 1 for them. So he wants to do 5 posts or comics for himself, and then 1 for the world to pay the bills, whatever that is. The problem with YouTube is that I don't know when that 1 for them is going to come, but like, that's the thing, I guess. But it's helped ease my mind into like thinking, when I am, you know, I don't want to be someone, I do obviously want to have a baseline level of being able to support myself financially. That's, you know, I want to be able to do this for as long as possible. But I don't want to, at the end of the day, be known as the guy who made the most amount of money. I want to be known as the guy who made good things. And that's it. Like, I just want to know, like, I want people to think back on the things that I made and think, it sounds like I'm preparing a eulogy. I want people to think back on the things that I've made and be like, yeah, man, he made great videos. I don't want to be like, man, he made like so much money. It was awesome. Like, it was crazy. And that's not like a knock on this like Mr. Beast style of creator, because I think the things that he does is absolutely insane, and there's a market for that, obviously. But I don't like the new wave of like, this is how you make a YouTube channel. Watch what Mr. Beast is doing. Watch what Air Rack is doing. It's like, they're doing great things for themselves, but that's not the path to do it. I mean, like, you find your own path, sort of thing. But yeah,
if you're doing it for the money to get into YouTube right now, you got a tough break ahead of you.
Yeah, that's another thing, like, as well, is that you have to know why you're starting. You can't start and be like, I want to do this because people are doing it and getting rich. It's like, well, I asked myself that for a long time. And something, if we wanted to go back to actually before, is that this isn't my first channel. I should have mentioned this before, but my first channel was a channel called, I don't know if I should say the name of it. Actually, no, I'm not going to say the name.
No, it was a lot of figure skating content. A little weird. I mean, we found it. A lot of figure skating stuff.
A lot of figure skating.
I mean, like, a lot.
A lot of yoga.
It was cold yoga, though. It was like straight snow.
Say it, but I reported the channel. I reported it.
Yeah, it was figure skating with a
sorry.
Anyway, that channel, that was great. That channel was like just for gaming content, and I always would ask myself when I was starting to make videos on there, was like, am I doing this because I want to become famous? Am I doing this because I want to make money? And I wasn't, because I want, but I like, that was what I was always worried about, because everything that I've ever heard from like big YouTubers, like, you have to be doing it for the right reasons. And I was like, am I doing it for, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a kid. Like, I don't know if I'm doing this for the right reasons. But, you know, I think that when I started making skits, which is what I wanted to do more and more, was when I started being like, this is what I want to do, even if it doesn't work. And I've read from a lot of people smarter than me who have said, if you were the last person on Earth, would you still do it? And if the answer is yes, then you're doing it for the right reason.
Yeah.
Obviously, not that it makes sense that, no, I wouldn't post videos on YouTube if I was the last person on Earth, but I would, you know, it's just having fun making them is something that you should have as one of your requirements.
You'd probably be in the woods trying to figure stuff out, like food and water, but You could always film it for like if you found like that extra population, be like, guys, I've got so much great content. Let me show you.
Yeah. Guys, once this grocery store runs out, I'm really gonna have to start focusing more on my survival. But I will be back soon. I promise. Once I get my civilization up and running.
So my final question is, and then JP, if you have any others, then we can roll into your Instagram followers' questions. And since we've been talking, we're about to break that 100 threshold. So a lot of questions coming in.
Super exciting.
So your fourth highest viewed video is probably the best joke you'll hear today. It has just over 1 million views.
Is it the 17-second one?
17 seconds, yes.
Okay, yeah.
So I wanted to know what 16-year-old Matt would think of the fact that over 1 million people have watched a Your Mom joke, and would he be proud of himself?
You know what, Mike, I don't think about that often. And
no.
It's very kind of you to bring that up, because I think that he would be like, "That's stupid. That's so insane." Like literally, 16-year-old me would be like, if I saw that, I can see a flush coming over my face, and be like, "There's no way that's the truth." Because I remember my first hint at like anything sort of viral, and it would not even, and this isn't even like, this is hilariously green of me at the time to say this now, was when I started making those gaming videos on that channel that I had, and I was such a big fan of Rooster Teeth and the Let's Play community. And they had like Achievement Hunter had this channel called the Let's Play community, where community members would just post videos, and it had like 200,000 subscribers on it. And they made like a bunch of stuff, and like every video was guaranteed to get like 10,000 views. And so I remember I put in like a Minecraft, like a things to do in Minecraft video that I sent into them and wanted them to post. And like, you never really know if it's going to get posted until like the week comes, like that day of the week shows up or whatever. And I remember being in my home and seeing and refreshing my subscriber thing and seeing that video and my video coming up on their page, and that it had just like been posted like 2 hours earlier, and it had like 8,000 views or something. And I remember just the elation that I felt. Like, it's unmatched by anything I've felt like in my life now. Like, even like with 100,000 subscribers or almost 200,000, whatever. Like, I remember like that was my first, and like the video now is still live and has like 8,000 views or something. Like, it's not even like couldn't be less viral. But like, it's at the time I was like, people were saying so many nice things in the comments, and like I was just so amped to see that. And like, that was just the first time that I really had other people that weren't my friends seeing anything that I've made before, because at the time the channel that I was working on had like maybe like 50 subscribers or something, if that.
Which is still like 50 subscribers for just posting gaming.
It's still people.
And it's like, people don't understand that the 90% of YouTube channels have like less than 50 subscribers.
Yeah, no, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I definitely. I kind of realized that I've been saying that like, and like, oh, back at that time I had nothing, but like having even like 100 people that you don't know watch your stuff is unbelievable to me still.
It's
like,
pretty cool.
Everything past that is just like, I mean, there's something to it, but like a lot of it is so much luck. Like, it's to have 100 strangers be like, I like this guy's stuff, and hit subscribe, and I want to see more of it. Like, that's so cool. Like, it's so weird, and I don't appreciate it enough. And I appreciate you for bringing that up, because it's something that I should really sit back and think about more. That's like, that's so many people. That's such a stupid amount of people.
Yeah, I was just like, because I saw myself in that. I'm like, man, if 16-year-old me, if I told a Your Mom joke on the internet and got 1 million views, I would be like, that is ridiculous. So
yeah.
All right, so let's ask some subscriber or some Instagram questions. And for those listening, every week, I say every week on Sunday, but I never do it on Sunday. So every week we post a little question box, and you can ask the guest of the week some questions. So we have just about 100 questions here to go through. So I'm going to preface with saying, if I say your name wrong, I'm sorry. And if I don't get to your question, I'm also sorry.
I'm gonna grab something. I'll be back in 1 second.
Yeah,
Go for it.
You guys are good.
Definitely going.
So, what's up?
No, don't worry about it.
The answer is yes to your question. Sorry, I'm just trying to read. We always get some like interesting ones.
I'm excited.
yeah, you're like, is that a real tree? AAAP_108.
That is okay. Let me mention that for a second, because
Okay.
I get that comment on every video that I make, and that was such a small part of one video that I made like a year ago on like the Facebook Marketplace video
Yeah.
that I made. It was just like, it was just trying to confuse people, and I just said something like, "Is that a real tree?" And it was just like a picture of a speaker. Like, it made no sense. But like, it just became like this meme on my channel now, this forever, that has just haunted me. Like, it just, I get messages still every day that it's like, "Is that a real tree?" I'm like, dude, I appreciate it so much that I have an inside joke, and I say like I'm angry about it, but I'm really not. It's actually super dope.
No, I'm glad that I asked that as a joke too, because he had another good question, but I think we asked kind of that kind of question in general. Is this another inside joke from your channel from Seb Veda? Cilantro, good or bad? This might be a genuine question, or is this something that's tied to another?
Cilantro. I don't think I have ever. It's definitely not an inside joke on the channel.
Okay.
I don't mind cilantro, but I don't like, if I'm having something that has cilantro on it, I'm not like, yes, thank God there's cilantro on this, or I'm never like, I wish this had more cilantro, but I'm also not really, I can't be bothered to take things off of food that I have, so I'm just like, unless it's like mushrooms.
Just eating it.
Yeah, so I'll just have some cilantro. Cilantro in the middle.
Well, Seb Veda, I didn't know if that was part of an inside joke. And then I'm just going to answer someone's question because the answer is needed here. Hold on, I'm writing a note. 1:30. So the answer to Adam Croissant, I'm going to guess he is... Oh, Adam de Croissant. I'm guessing he's French from your video. So is he a cool dude? The answer is yeah. He's a really, really, really genuinely cool dude.
That's very kind of you.
And then...
This is all an act.
Yeah, it's all an act. Just wait. You should have seen him before this.
The managers are all right behind me. Yeah.
Yeah, you actually made all those profiles. It's like a lot of work. But...
I sent it to him, and he's like, "Hold on, I've got a great thing for this."
Yeah. Yeah. How great is Matt's body? It's great, isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it sweet?
There is a question about that, but I just didn't think it was appropriate. Will you do more videos where you act out and review fan scripts? This is from Eugene Demeyer. I'm sorry if I...
is it Eugene or Eugenie? Because I think
Eugenie.
Yeah, it is. I think she's messaged me before, so I remember that. That handle. I may. I had a lot of fun doing that. That was it was also a kind of hell, because for those that don't know, I put out like a little thing, like a community post that said, "Hey, send me your scripts, and I want to read them, and then I'll pick 3 and just make them into a video." And that got a lot more people excited than I thought it would, because even people that didn't send in scripts were like really excited to watch it. But it is still like a very niche video. Like, it's one of the ones on my channel that like I posted in the last year that's had like the least amount of views. But it's not something that like deters me away from it, because I know that like the core group that watches my things are really excited by that. But it was a lot of fun. But the hell part about it was that I got 200 scripts and had to read 200 scripts.
Yeah, that's brutal.
And I read every single one and replied to everyone that left a message. Like, I wanted to be thorough about it, because that was when I was traveling from Newfoundland to here in BC. So I had the time to do it, but it was still kind of hell. But I think I'll do it again, but in time.
Yeah, give yourself another 2, maybe 3 years, something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because it won't be way worse when you have 250 or 400,000 subscribers. That's so much better.
Yeah.
All right, last question I'm going to ask is from this one. I'm going to definitely brutalize. So Josh Schlanker, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? I think that's a good one to end on.
5 to 10.
Yeah, it's broad.
Well, okay, in 5 years is 2026. 5 years from here, God, I have no idea. Like, I hope that I am fulfilling myself by doing something similar to what I'm doing right now. I think that if I'm finding a way to pursue creative endeavors in some way, whatever it is I'm interested in, whether it's this or some other sort of similar thing, whether it's YouTube or film in general or whatever it is, or writing or whatever I'm into then, because my interests shift a lot. I hope that it is making me somewhat happy. Is that all I can really say about it? Is because I don't know what I'm going to enjoy then. If I were to guess, if I were to hazard a guess, it would be that it will probably something similar to YouTube. I like creating my own things and not being blocked in by any sort of outside folks saying stay within these lines. I like doing whatever it is I'm doing, and yeah, that is my hope and my prediction as well. That I think in 5 years I'll be doing that, and in 10 years I will be crying because I will have lost it all for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is one view on the future for sure.
That is one view, yeah. Yeah.
Hey, at least you'll be happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that'll be when I'll be crying of happiness because I don't have to worry anymore. I am a serial worrier, and that will be then vanquished. I will disappear and head into the bushes for all time.
I think they say worrying is like a rocking chair. Have you heard that?
I do want to hear it though.
Worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't help. Gives you. That's not it. Worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere.
There you go.
That sounds much more correct.
Yeah,
and that
good sport. We'll give you another chance.
I believe was Seth Green.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Was that
it wasn't.
Was that?
No.
Oh, you should have left it there.
I'm so gullible.
God, you should have left
It was
it
not.
there.
I don't know. I just threw out a random. I watched a movie. He was in it recently, so that's what I went with. I watched Without a Paddle last night. That's why.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
That was Seth Green in his Chris Griffin voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. Here we go. Call back.
There you go. And
cool.
Closing by return.
Yeah. So I think the only before JP rolls us into the final outro here is what do you watch on YouTube? We talked about this question, and from Bo Miles. So what are you watching on YouTube today?
I will give you my answer now. I am watching a lot of Bo Miles. He only posts once a month or so, or sometimes even more sparingly. So it's not what I don't go back and watch his old backlogs, but every time he posts, I think he's the only channel that I have notifications on for. Is Bo Miles. I'm just so excited every time he posts. He makes fantastic short films for those who don't know, of just like different sort of adventures, and he just seems like and you guys have talked to him, so you would know, the nicest fella, and just the most just happy, but not like a fake sort of happy. Like, he just has such a cool outlook on life, and I love watching things that he's in and does. I also watch a lot of Nathaniel Drew. I don't know if you've heard of Nathaniel Drew. It's another sort of he's like a mental clarity sort of channel, like almost like a self-help. I don't like the negative connotations that come around self-help, because a lot of people are like, well, it's figure it yourself. But like I think he's got some really good stuff, and he's a great writer, and it's very high quality stuff, and I really like his videos a lot. And to go over to the comedy side, who am I watching on the comedy side now more than ever? I'm always watching a lot of Gus Johnson.
He's easy to watch.
Say it again?
He's easy to watch.
He is so easy to watch, and just his stuff is just so short but so great. I've been watching a lot of Max Fosh lately, I've actually talked to recently on Instagram. I've had a lot of fun watching him, and Max is a super cool guy. He's a British cat who's actually running for the mayor of London right now, kind of as a joke.
Freaking
but
way.
It's so funny. He's so like, he's just, I don't know if it's just because I'm not British, but it's just like he's so funny. He makes me laugh a lot. And to shout out one more Canadian guy is Red Light Blue, who's a friend of mine recently.
Red Light Blue.
He started as a guitar channel, but now he's got more into like animations. But he's the funniest guy I've ever talked to, like, in just so genuinely funny. And the last video that he posted is but he's a much smaller channel as well. Like, he's not, I say much smaller, but he's got like 100,000, but only very recently hit 100,000. But no, he's really funny, and I think he's going to do great things. So he's one to watch, I would say, is Red Light Blue.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
exciting.
Yeah.
I'll check him out.
There's 5
Duly
channels.
noted.
I watch a lot, but those are my 5 right now that I'll give you.
I like that.
Perfect.
All right, JP, roll us out.
All right. Well, are you still abstain from alcohol? Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. In that case, we're going to go the LaCroix route, Mike. And what we're going to do here is this is what's going to happen for the outro. We both have a LaCroix in hand, a sparkling beverage. We're going to crack these open. We're going to start chugging them. While we're chugging them, let us know, what you're doing, what you got coming up, what your channel is, where they can subscribe, and we'll go from there. So,
I'll do it
Matt,
quick because I would be
lovely talking to you
horrified.
today, and we're going to...
Oh,
we
man.
start chugging, you start talking.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. What do I have coming up? Let me give you the longest list I've got here. Let's see. I've got not too much. I'm just chilling. No, I'm kidding. I am about to embark on a trip across the country again, going from British Columbia back to Newfoundland. So there will be more things coming in, a month's time when I'm back home and settled in. But until then, just some more sketches and stuff, the stuff you got to look forward to. And then hopefully once the summer rolls around, there will be some more, as we talked about earlier, some more higher production quality stuff. And that's what you can look forward to. And maybe, if you're crazy, some music in the future.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Now we're
There's
talking.
There's
we're
a
talking.
bomb drop.
That's
We'll
new.
see.
A lot of people aren't seeing that.
Yeah.
You saw it on the chug countdown.
Yep.
Yes.
That's great. Just give us the instrument.
A little, just original songs of just
good.
singer-songwriter stuff. And
Tambourine?
Some funny, maybe some not funny, and just all tambourine and harmonica and kazoo. You're right.
Ooh, dude,
Yeah.
some kazoo could get lit. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
I would recommend mixing in Peruvian flute. That's a big hit on
Yep.
YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of
thought
people
so.
pulling big numbers on Peruvian flute channels. So
Yeah. Jazz flute,
big
too.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
Perfect.
Matt, it was awesome chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time today. Everything is below, all the social media, everything you can get to. Look out for his merch and his music coming soon. And if I can find the gaming channel, it'll be in the bio. So thanks so much, man. Appreciate
Michael,
it.
JP, thank you guys so much. Really, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Pleasure's all ours.
Thanks, Matt.